you for joining the second module of this process. You know, it takes something to be willing to engage in a different way with your cardiac recovery process. And I really want to congratulate you. This is not an easy process. It's not for sissies, as they say. It is something that can be quite tough. We have to put on our big boy and big girl pants and look this thing in the eye and address it the best we can. So really, congratulations to the willingness that you are displaying to do this process. I want to do my best to make this a bit easier on you, and I don't want to minimize it and play it down. This is a tough process, and we need all the help we can, the physical help, the medical help, but also the emotional support from our loved ones, but also things like this. So I'm going to give you some tools and a way to think that might be helpful, and I hope really that you can engage with this well, that you can take what's working for you. And I know that I am generalizing because I'm talking to a bigger audience than just you, but I want you to take this and individualize it for yourself. A lot of the stuff you can probably apply just as I presented, but some of that, and maybe a lot of that, you have to individualize. You know, think it through, process it, and make this work for you. When we go through an invasive event like this, it's really a battle that we are engaging in. And a battle is not an external battle, but mostly an internal battle, an emotional, but especially also a mental battle. We know that our minds and our hearts are taking hands in this. You know, it's easy to tell somebody, don't feel like that, feel different. You know, feel differently. But we know that to feel differently, to stop feeling anxious or depressed, or stop feeling that you are the life is unfair. It's not that easy. You know, we cannot just press a button and quickly you snap out of your old emotions and now you're suddenly in a different state. Sometimes we can go from sadness to happiness when we listen to a great joke, or from happiness to sadness when we hear bad news. But you know, to know these buttons, to know how to feel differently, is quite a trick. It's quite a skill that we have to learn. But in this module, I'm going to focus on how you can use your mind to think differently in order to cope differently. And I know that you know a lot about that already. You've been in life for a couple of years, and you've learned a lot about self-management and so on. And I want you to use all those insights that you have and just bring it to this process, and allow what I do to stimulate that a bit more. Shakespeare said through Hamlet, nothing is either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Nothing is either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. In other words, the way that we think about things will determine how we see them. A friend of mine, end of last year, lost his wife to suicide. He found her in their house, and it was really quite a shock, and he went through quite a tough time. But then he stumbled upon this quote, and it made the world's difference to him, and it also helped me to internalize this quote in my own life, going through my cardiac procedure. So he decided that he's going to see his wife's suicide from her point of view, and not from his point of view of loss. And he started seeing a whole different world, and also what she would want for him to do, and how she would like him to respond to this. And he started to think differently about life and death, and everything changed in his life. And he's not a psychologist, he's a owner of a bicycle shop, and he just started understanding this very important dimension of life. I also like this quote. It says, you don't see life as it is, you see life as you are. You see life as you are. In other words, if you are negative, life will seem quite dark and negative. If you are positive and your attitude is optimistic and you believe the best of everything around you and of everybody around you, life will just seem differently. And it's a choice that we make, how we are, how we approach life. So my question to you is, how are you today? And can you actually just um, reset your mind about today and about what life is all about? I know you might not feel all that well. Maybe you feel a bit disenabled and you feel a bit weak, depending on how far you are in your recovery process. How are you today? But also, how do you approach your day? What's happening inside yourself, and what do you allow yourself? What attitudes are you allowing yourself to cherish in your life? If you look at this little picture there, you would see there are two people, and you and I can actually do that. If I draw a 6 from my side, it will seem like a 6 to me, and you would say, no, Johan, this is a 9. And we can debate about that, and it will just be a very silly conversation. But the fact is that you see life from your position and from your perspective, and also from your past experiences. We are actually conditioned and programmed to see life in a certain way, and we might not be right in that. So there might be a different or even a better way to view the process that you are going through. And the question is, are you doing the best you can to help yourself, to entertain the best thoughts and the best beliefs in this? In the previous module 1, I spoke about being proactive, taking full responsibility for your life. And I also spoke about the dynamic of stimulus and response. Often the two just coincide. There's a stimulus and you just go over to another to a certain response. But actually, you can put a pause between stimulus and response to your, between what happened to you and how you react or respond to it. But by just taking time to pause for a while, pause to ponder, P2P, just to think about what will be the best possible way to respond to that. And that pause is actually if you take time out to make a decision, and you just reset your approach to the situation that you are in. And in a sense, this is what we're doing today. We are taking that pause and using that so that you can reset and rethink your beliefs about your current situation and about life and about the future and so on. We also spoke about the fact that you can either let your mind go towards a threat or towards rewards. Either you focus on pain or you focus on gain. And it's just a natural process. And most of us actually normally go to pain. We try to avoid pain. We try to move away from threats and from things that can hurt us and make life difficult for us. But we forget to move towards something, to put our focus on what can really help us. What you focus on grows, it expands. And the more we think about problems, the more problems we have. And the more we think about solutions, somehow the more solutions we have and the better life becomes. And I know this sounds like very shallow advice for a person in your situation, but the fact is it is true. And we often we don't want to hear those things, but it's helpful when we allow those truths to help us, and when we get our minds around these things. And I know it's not easy again, but please help yourself to help yourself, if I can put it like that. So we are going to go through the process of checking your beliefs, and maybe there are many other beliefs that are toxic and not helpful to you, and you can just revisit those beliefs and maybe just talk them through with somebody. Just allow somebody to hear you out. Ask the person, just allow me to use you as a sounding board. And guys, it and girls, it helps to talk about these things. Not only talking to yourself, but talking to to somebody else, or even to, if you believe in God, to God or a higher power of the universe. Just get this out of your system, and just allow somebody to help you to go through a process of rethinking your beliefs. So beliefs works very much like a table with legs. We have this belief, and then we have evidence, that's the legs, to keep up this belief. And the strange thing happens, the more we have strong beliefs, the more we use filters, and we just strengthen this belief. We get more and more legs to keep this, or more evidence to keep this belief up, and to reinforce our beliefs. And we actually filter out other evidence that might be contradictory to what we are believing. So beliefs work like that. And it becomes a filter of life, and it actually filters away many other evidence that we don't see anymore after a while. And I want to ask you, just allow yourself to revisit the evidence that you are using to believe what you are believing. And maybe this is against what you feel for right now, but just give yourself this chance, and go through this process of rethinking your thoughts. So we can either hang on our old beliefs, or open ourselves up to a new way of believing, and a new way of viewing life. And I hope you can give yourself that opportunity. So I've written down for myself a few common beliefs. I've been visiting a lot of social media sites, and you can do the same, guys. And really, this is very helpful if we go to Facebook and to LinkedIn support groups, and we just participate on those media. Don't do it too much, because it can also be depressing if you see other people suffering. But it's also helpful to see that other people are also going through the same kind of setbacks and challenges that you are going through, and you can read the advice and the encouragement that people in the same situation are giving to each other. So let me go to some of the beliefs that we might have. One of the beliefs that I heard myself, also struggling with, but also voicing, but also read and heard of my fellow cardiac warriors sharing, is that this is a tough time. Being weak and somewhat disabled, it's really not a nice time to be in. And of course it is true, but it's only partly true. We can actually rephrase that. We can say, yes, this is a tough time. I've been through a very serious procedure, but this is not a dark time. It's a time of hope, of re-envisioning my life. It's a time where I can give myself a new chance on life, and where I can make a decision to really make full use of this new chance of life that I've been given. Even though I don't feel so well right now, and on my recovery process, I can say I embrace life again, and I give myself this chance on life. And even though this road to recovery might be bumpy, and life is actually bumpy, I embrace life, and I give myself the chance to hope. We need hope to cope, and I make a decision sorry, to really grow through this. Sorry for that. So if I can go to another one, we can also say, I'm a patient. I actually touched on that in the first module. I'm a patient, and therefore I'm a suffering person. A patient actually means to suffer, to go through a tough process. But I chose right from the beginning not to call myself a patient on purpose. We can say, I am not my disease. I will not allow my disease, my struggle, and my cardiac procedure to define me. I'm not defined by health challenges. I am a warrior. I am an overcomer. I'm a conqueror. I'm on my way to recovery and to health and life. And the more and more you tell yourself that, the more and more you're sending that message also to your body and to your emotional being, and you become that more and more. So our identity often becomes our destiny. And when we identify ourselves as being patients and being victims, and life is just so bad, and I am now due to have a very struggling, difficult life moving forward. That becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy in our lives. I like this picture of a cat looking in the mirror, and he sees a lion there, and often that's what we must do. Just envision yourself being healthy in the future again, that you are a recovering person. I told myself I'm a recovering sportsman, and that's helped me just a little bit to see myself cycling again, just to envision who I was, but also what I'm becoming. Because we have been somebody, and we are somebody now, but we're also becoming. And just look at your identity. Who are you right now? And don't say I am suffering or I am a patient as far as you can. Rather say I am recovering. I'm on my way of getting better. There's another one. By focusing on my problems and challenges, we can say, I pity myself to feel better for a while, perhaps more loved and cared for. Somehow I find that when we suffer, we hope that people will feel sorry for us, and we confuse that pity with love, and we actually want more of that, and we actually then get stuck in that. But being felt sorry for isn't really love. Pity isn't equal to love. People feel sorry for you and they want to help you and so on. But actually, if you keep on feeling sorry for yourself, keep on having self-pity, you're putting yourself in a process of going deeper and deeper into depression, and putting on your dark glasses, and your shades, and you just see life from a very dark angle. I think it's better to say, by focusing on recovery, I stay positive and hopeful and motivated. That's higher energy, that's a higher level of energy. And by doing that, it's easier to love myself and to be loved by others, and also to reach out to others and love them. If we start being okay with ourselves. So, your level of energy determines how you handle lives. And if we put ourselves down by going down the road of self-pity and of negativity and all those negative thoughts, we're just making life so much more difficult for us. And I know this often takes some effort to pull ourselves out of that, to focus on what is positive, to decide to see the great things in life, that we had people looking after us, we have medication, and just to count your blessings and see the good things in life. It's a very conscious decision that we make, and we have to be very intentional about that, to guard our thoughts. We either being managed by our thoughts or we manage our thoughts, and to make a decision not to go into self-pity, but to be grateful and to see life in all its glory, in all its beauty, and to see the opportunity to move forward and to recover. And there's always hope, and there's always life going forward. Another one I believe that we might have is to say, I've lost my health and my life is over. You had a big blow to your health, that's true. But we got a new chance on life. And we have so much to be grateful for. So we can choose to focus on not on what we've lost, but also but far more on what we have and what we are about to gain. We have lost some energy and some health, but we are busy regaining our health, and we're busy in a process of recovering and reaching out to life and to health. So it's always important, for instance, everybody that lost a leg can either focus on the leg that they lost, or they can focus on what they still have. And you can see, when you watch the Paralympics, you see those athletes with lots of setbacks that they had in their lives, but they are participating, focusing on what they have, and make the best of that. We can also say, being control gives me certainty, it gives me happiness. So losing control is a calamity. It just it is equal to unhappiness. If you put yourself in that mindset, it will be like that. But the fact is, life is not something that we have control over. We are not in control of so many things in life. Life happens, and we can choose to surrender, not giving up, but to surrender, to flow with the rhythms and the energy of life. And the fact is that uncertainty brings possibility and opportunity, and we can choose to use that. It's like a surfer in the sea. The uncertainty of the waves actually brings the energy and the opportunity for him to surf. And the same way with us. Life is happening. It's bringing a lot of waves to us, and sometimes it can really get us under. But we can get up and we can start using some of those waves to move forward, and not to fight life and to force life, but to flow with life and to make peace with life and to let it become a force that's working for us. You can also say, I'm a victim of genetics and of cholesterol and circumstances. It might be partly true, but the fact is, we didn't choose this cardiac event, but we can choose how we move forward. Life isn't fair, but now we have all these many, many choices. And again, it's important to tell ourselves, I am not a victim. I'm a warrior. I'm a conqueror. I'm an overcomer. Yes, those things are true of my life. I have some genetics that's problematic, but I can now decide how I look at that. And there's a whole science of epigenetics, how we actually set off those genetics, those genetical programs in ourselves, or how we actually navigate our lives so that we can live the best possible lives with those genetics. We can also say, why me? This is unfair. Yes, cardiac disease is something that's not fair, but it happens to a lot of people. And you can either choose to ask the question of, why me? Or you can rather say, I choose to focus on what now? I can ask myself, what can I do now? How can I make life better for myself? And asking the what now question rather than the why me question is far more helpful and empowering. And it's also far more future focused. So it's more solution focused, future focused, far more helpful. Just move away from why me, life is unfair, to what now? How can I live the best possible life that I can? Sometimes we entertain thoughts that's really not very helpful in our lives. Another one is, we can be problem focused. I actually already touched on that. Or we can be solution focused. And to be solution focused is, again, to say, I'm looking forward to a new life, to new health, which I intend to use fully with appreciation and gratitude. It's just a mindset. Again, if you focus on problems, you have more problems. If you focus on solutions, you have more solutions. So you might have a few setbacks and a few stumbling blocks. Every time, just ask yourself, what can I do about this? What are the solutions? Not why this, what is the problem here, but rather ask yourself, what is the solution? Something happens in our minds when we just ask the solution question rather than the problem question, the why question, going back, looking at the threat rather than looking at the reward or the gain that there is for me, looking at the positive. So it might be that after thinking about these things, you might see, it's just too good to be true. It doesn't feel true to think the more positive thought. And the fact is that it is often like that. Your brain is so used and so conditioned to the negative stuff that it's very hard to change our old beliefs and to start feeling that the new beliefs are true. So I've designed a process with the help of people like Caroline Leaf and Joe Dispenza and many other neuroscientists. That's just really very helpful to me. I just want to mention it here in this module, and we will go into this in more depth at a later stage. I think in the next module we will look at that. So this is just to help us to move away from the threat towards the reward kind of thinking. So I call this method the Arab method, and it starts by being aware of what we're thinking. It's important to catch ourselves in the moment when we start thinking and feeling the way that we do, when we realize this is not helpful, just to catch ourselves in that moment, and then to stop for a while to reflect on it. Is this really helpful? Is this good? for the situation that I am in? Is this helping me to get better? And if the answer is no, then just move to the next one, to ask yourself, how can I replace this thought with a better thought? In the next session, we will talk about how we internalize this and how we then go into practicing this, living this every day. But for now, I want you just to notice that it is important to become aware of your thoughts and to reflect on that and ask yourself, what will be better thoughts that I can replace these thoughts with? And then take on that new thoughts. Feel it. Sometimes we have to stand up and to do a power pose, to tell ourselves, I'm going to be strong and courageous. I'm going to be a warrior. I'm going to be an overcomer. I am an overcomer. I'm not a loser. I'm not a victim. I can do this. And you put your mind to that. You reset your thinking. You embrace that the solution-focused mindset. You embrace the fact that you've been given a new chance, that you are still alive. There is still a life to live. And hopefully there are many, many, many years for you to live where you can make an impact, can make a difference, and live your life to the full and enjoy the time that you have. Life is always limited. And to make use of the life that we have is so important. Whether it's still another 80 years or whether it's 10 years or 5 years or 1 year, we have to take on life and use it and live it. It's an issue of either you use it or you lose it. Let's use it. Let's make a decision of believing that there is some life to live, and I'm going to make the best use of that. Friends, put yourself in that mindset, and may you experience joy and the happiness that actually comes because of that. All of the best. I see you on the next module. We will talk about our emotions. How can we actually navigate our emotions? Again, we can either be managed by our emotions or we can manage our emotions. And there are some tricks in the book that we can use. There are actually far more than I can actually communicate in these videos, but this is just a starting point for you to see that you can take control over your life and you can make the best of your life, even though life is tough and difficult at times, like it's possibly now while you are watching this. All of the best, and may you recover well. Look after yourself.